Hi Anissa, it's your mom. Hopefully you can see, because I can't see in this camera. Excuse me. But you're gone for the night, and I was in the mood to make a video, and excuse me, you're asking me about him and stuff like that, so I figure I'll make this video for when you're old enough you can watch it. I'm going to tell you the video of how I met your father. And kind of what happened a little bit. Here I go with the ums again, I'm sorry. It's just a habit, so I'll probably say it a lot. So I apologize. How I met your father, I had a friend named, well, I'll just say names, Erica. I won't say last names. And she used to live here in Connecticut, and then she moved to North Carolina. And she was wanting me to come down there for years and years and years, and I just kept making excuses not to go or whatever. And I had been in and out of a relationship for like 8 or 9 years with somebody that, you know, I loved, and I thought he was, you know, my first love. He probably was my first love. I mean, I kind of, yeah, I guess you could say I kind of fought for him. Yeah, so anyways, I don't know why he slept with my cousin, and he slept with 2 of my friends, so yeah. But anyways, so I have a past with him, and I have a best friend. We're still best friends. It's actually funny because we used to be enemies, I guess you can say. I don't know, I've never had anything against her, but I was dating her kid's father. But I wasn't dating him because I liked him or anything. I was young and I was stupid. He had a car, he had weed, and he bought me things. So, you know, he was like 10 years older than me. So it wasn't really, you know, anything too serious on my end. And, so anyways, we ended up becoming friends, and we ended up becoming best friends. And I started babysitting her kids while she would go to work or whatever. And crap, I don't remember where my point with her was going. Oh, well, anyways, I used to babysit her kids, and it so happened that she lives with her sister, and her sister's fucking psycho. And I ended up watching her kids a few times, her sister's kids a few times too, while she would go out and cheat or whatever she was doing. She was sleeping with somebody, always sleeping with somebody. And so whatever, I was watching the kids, and she was thinking that, I mean, I had messed with her kid's father. They weren't together or anything like that. I had messed with him at one point when I was on a break from my boyfriend. We weren't together. I didn't cheat. And we stopped, and, you know, we were just ended up being, you know, friends or whatever. And because, you know, she's fucking psycho. She tries to kill people. And whatever, so we were at a house that my best friend and I were renting out towards the shore, because she was working at the casino, and the deal was I was going to live with her and watch the kids, and, you know, yada yada. Well, I guess her psychotic sister decided to follow us or was sitting there waiting. I don't know what the hell she was doing. But we were just sitting there painting the house that we were renting and, you know, painting, listening to music, and all of a sudden he's like, I hear something outside. And I'm like, okay. So he goes to check and he opens the door and I hear arguing and I'm like, you know, what the hell's going on? And all of a sudden I see her come flying at me across the house with a knife. And, you know, I just thought quick and I grabbed a, you know, I don't know if you remember those old lights. I'm talking to you like you'll remember, Anissa, you were young. But anyways, back in the day, I mean, I'm Tiffany, I know you're watching this, but maybe Bubba, you know the old lights, and you guys have heard this story already. Tiffany, you maybe not. But they were old lights that you put up on the ceiling, and you know, you take them off, they kind of still have them now. And so I grabbed that and I smacked her across the head with it, you know, broke it. And I guess he took her down, and I went outside and called the cops, and the cops came, and I think she was arrested, and they brought me to the emergency room. Nothing happened. I just got like a little cut. I don't know if it was from her or if it was from me smacking her with the thing and the glass breaking over her head. I don't know what it was. So after that, she tried to make my life hell and whatever. So I decided, you know what, I need a break. Why not go to North Carolina and visit Erica? So I did that. I went and I visited her. I believe I took the bus. There. And she picked me up. And we went to her house, whatever, and we were chilling. And it was actually around Thanksgiving. And actually on Thanksgiving Day, we went to her father's house. And, you know, whatever. And she told me, you know, a couple people were going to be there. And, well, so happened your father was there with his 2 children, your brother and your sister. And I don't know if it, I guess you can kind of say it was like love at first sight, but like I loved my boyfriend that I was with for a long time, on and off. But what I felt for your father was totally different. Like, you know, I never had problems getting a boyfriend. You know, I didn't always look like this. You know, I was bullied when I was younger, picked on because I was a little overweight, and I lost a whole bunch of weight, and, you know, I felt good, and, you know, even when I was a little overweight, I still never had a problem getting a man or having a boyfriend. And it's not that I needed one, you know, to be okay. I didn't need one. It was just, I don't know, I always had one. And I was playing with your brother and sister, and your father and I got to talking, and Erica found out that I kind of had a crush on him, and she kind of put everything in the works. She called her father, and her father called your father, and we started hanging out after that. And he came over to Erica's house, and, you know, had a couple drinks, and I even was bold enough and slept over his house. I mean, we didn't do anything, and there was, you know, nothing involved, you know, maybe just kissing, but that was it, you know, I swear. And the next day, he was going to court. Now here's where it's going to get a little confusing and a little whacked. The next day, I believe we're up and we're doing something, maybe getting ready. He was getting ready for court, I think. Maybe I was helping him iron, and his wife came to the door. Now, North Carolina, let me explain myself. North Carolina, you have to be separated for a year, like separated for a year before you can file for a divorce. They weren't separated very long. She had cheated on your father, and they weren't together. And it so happens that I met your father during all that drama. And it happened to be drama about who was getting the kids. And she showed up for at the house for something, I don't remember for what. And only because he was going to court that day, and I didn't want to really stir any trouble, I was in your sister's closet. Now normally I wouldn't hide, because why should I? They're not together. You know, there's no reason why he can't be with somebody else. But because he was going to court and was trying to get custody of his 2 children, your brother and sister, I did what he asked me to do. And he went to court that day, and he ended up getting custody of your brother and sister. And, you know, he came over after court to Erica's house and told me, and, you know, we kind of celebrated that night. He, you know, came over to Erica's. I think he had dinner there, and it felt good. It felt right. And I was in North Carolina for 2 weeks. I came back home, and we talked every single night on the phone. Approximately, well, probably not even a month later, less than a month later, I was on a plane to North Carolina to live with your father. I thought Erica was picking me up from the airport, but your father decided to surprise me and pick me up. And it was pretty awesome, because originally I was supposed to go down there and live with Erica and her husband until TJ and I were, until we were okay enough to live together. But instead, I decided to just go and live with your father and help him with your brother and sister and do all that. So I moved there at the end of December, and I believe it was the 2001. I believe it was 2001 I moved there. And I ended up getting pregnant, I believe 2 weeks after I moved there. 2 weeks or 3 weeks after I moved there. And so much stress, and I found out I have RH factor, and it didn't mix, and I ended up miscarrying. And, well, actually, I didn't, well, I guess you could say I miscarried. I kind of didn't. But I was miscarrying for about 3 days, and the 4th day, I believe it was, I looked at your father. I was curled up in his mother's rocking chair, and I just couldn't take the pain anymore. I had been to the doctors, I believe, twice already, and they said, nothing's wrong, you know, everything's okay, I don't understand, and it's just normal cramping, and it wasn't normal. I knew it wasn't. And so that last day I went, when I was curled up in the ball, your father took me, and I believe your grandmother, his mother, went with me, and I believe his grandmother too. And they ended up having to take the baby out. So the doctor said, oh, don't get pregnant, da la la. Okay. Yeah, about a month later I was pregnant with you. And it was all good. I ended up getting a job with, you know, Ronnie, working at the car wash. Rest in peace, Ronnie. I love you and I miss you. And I got a job at the car wash. Everything was okay. Your father and I were fighting off and on. I ended up leaving your father and coming back home. Sorry. I ended up leaving your father and coming back home for a while. I brought my dog Blue with me, and I decided to give him another chance, and I went back, brought my dog, and come to find out, your father had been cheating on me with his kid's mom, his now still wife. He says he wasn't, but phone records show that he was. And I hit your father. And that wasn't the first time. Your father had put his hands on me. That was the reason why I left the first time. He pushed me down the stairs when I had just found out I was pregnant with you, and pushed me down the stairs to get at Andrea's new boyfriend. And he pushed me into the chair. He hit me in my head, in my face. We just hit each other back and forth, and it just wasn't cool. And so I left. And then when I went back, I found out he was cheating. And I hit him and I left. I walked out of the door, and Blue ended up following me. I guess to protect his mom or whatever. And I didn't leash him. And he used to run in the woods and all that stuff until I went home the first time, and I trained him on leash and everything, and he was, he changed. He wasn't that kind of dog anymore. And well, this time he ended up running into the woods, and we lived on a road that was like in the middle of fucking nowhere. The town is like this big, and Black Creek, North Carolina. And freaking the road that we lived on, it says like this. Well, the speed limit up to here, which is like pretty much where we lived, is 45, 45, and then it goes down to 25 here. So, and I mean, that doesn't look like a long, it's short distance. And Blue ended up coming running, and I told the car to stop, and I was 5 months pregnant with you. And I told the car to stop, and he didn't, and Blue just, he got hit right in front of me. I'm going to try and do this without crying, because I've been crying on and off all day today, and I don't want to do it anymore. So, he got hit in front of me, and I blamed TJ, and I pretty much hated him. I just couldn't be there anymore, and we were fighting, and I was on the phone with Ronnie, and TJ and I just had a big fucking blowout, and I had just had enough. Anissa, I had enough. And I called Grandma, and I said, Grandma, can you please book me a ticket? And she did. And I packed all my shit, and I fucking left. I left. And I'm proud of myself. Because if I had stayed, you wouldn't be the sweet girl you are now. You'd probably see a whole hell of a lot of fighting and a whole bunch of crap that I don't want you to see, and I don't want you to be raised around. I left your father because I did what I thought was the best thing for you. And I didn't have anybody in North Carolina anymore except for Ronnie. I didn't talk to Erica anymore. I missed your grandma. I missed home. I missed being away from home. And I wanted to have my baby home. And that's what I did. And stupid me tried moving you back to be around your father again when you were 4. And I'm an idiot. We were there for 3 long fucking years, and I apologize, Anissa. because you got absolutely nowhere. You got your father that lived 5 minutes away from you and didn't want anything to do with you until he found out that your Uncle Billy was involved in your life and he wasn't. And your Uncle Billy is still involved in your life and your father isn't, and you're gonna be 11. That's pretty fucking sad. But you know what? I didn't do what my mom did. I didn't lie to you. But you're old enough now anyway. You can see that your dad is not around. He doesn't call you. He doesn't write to you. He doesn't do anything. He doesn't make any kind of fucking effort. He doesn't even try to help me support you. Bottom line is, you are old enough to see that your father is a loser, but I wanted to tell you my little love story of how I met your father. I don't really know what else to say in this video. I think I may end it here because I think that's a good note. And I don't know, maybe I'll get your opinion on what video you want me to do next. But I just thought you should know that your mom hasn't always lived the quiet life that she lives now. You know, like, I stirred up trouble and, you know, I almost got stabbed to death. That's a big fucking thing. That's a big deal. But I have got some more crazy stories. I mean, not crazy like getting stabbed to death, but I've been through some shit. And like I said, you're not gonna see this video until you're older. I'm gonna share it because I know, you know, Tiffany would be interested in it. But yeah. So that's it for now. I love you, Anissa. Always remember that.